Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Rectify Roundtable. We are back talking about drama in the video game industry as of late, and I am joined by Scott Anderson. Scott, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good, Ty. How are you?
I'm doing great. Before we get started with the show where we talk about Microsoft and Nintendo and PlayStation, we cover all three. We're going to be covering all three of these companies in different ways. But how have you been? What games have you been playing? And don't tell me it's Persona.
Okay. Well, I just recently finished up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That was a really good time. I played a lot of that game. It was really good. I'm glad I played it. Uh, I was kind of bouncing around a couple of different games. I played Everspace 2 for a little bit, which
Oh,
is pretty good. I'm having a good time with that one. I tried getting started with the second Jedi Fallen Order Survivor. That's what it's called.
yeah, Jedi
Jedi
Survivor.
Survivor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I played a little bit of that. For some reason, it wasn't really grabbing me. Not that I think I just maybe wasn't in the mood for it. And then, gosh, just a couple days ago, I was like, I really need something to hit, and so I picked up Persona 3 Reload.
Yes.
And, it's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good.
Yes. So I played about a handful of hours into Persona 3 Reload. I have so many other games to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, you probably have another 200 hours to go in Persona 3?
Well, so thankfully, from what I understand, Persona 3 is a shorter game than Persona 5, which is a relief because I spent at least 200 hours in between Persona 5, the base game when it came out. I think this will be more around 60 to 70 hours, which is
Not
about the
bad.
same. No, it's not bad. It's about the same amount of time I spent playing Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
I heard good things about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. There might have been a chapter in there where like Greg said it wasn't as good. It was like, whoa, this is like the really bad chapter. I don't know what chapter he's talking about because I didn't play it, but
I mean, look, that game is so massive, and there is
yeah.
so much to do. So, like, if there's a chapter of that game that like didn't hit you as well as all the other ones did, like, I mean, that's fine. It is absolutely a game of the year contender, and I mean, just incredible what they were able to do with building the size of the environment that they did with like no loading screens to speak of in the open world, and just really, really impressive. So I had a great time with it, and looking forward to the next one, which I'm sure will be out another 3 or 4 years from now.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah, now hopefully Square Enix can focus on Kingdom Hearts 4, but we'll maybe talk about that a little bit later on to the show when we talk about presentation predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the games I've been playing are a lot different than yours. I've been playing a lot of live service games. X Defiant that just came out a week ago. It's kind of like Call of Duty as far as gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of it. I suck at it, so I'm not gonna say it's like I'm not gonna say it's a bad game because I think people will say it's really good, but I think it's very fast paced compared to Call of Duty and other first person shooters.
Okay.
Has potential, but I've been playing Multiverses as well, which is actually pretty good platform fighter. I like the way Warner Brothers and Player First Games have been doing there, and some other types of games. I've been really all over the place. So yeah, I think we're
No,
two completely different people. We're two completely different gamers, I guess. But
that's all right. We cover a lot of We cover a lot of the spectrum, so we have something to say about just about everything. So that's good.
yeah, all right. So let's get on with the show. So earlier in May. To start off May, Microsoft announced studio closures that included Tango Gameworks, Roundhouse Studios, Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, and now these studios were acquired. But when these studios were acquired when Microsoft got Bethesda in 2021. Now, Tango Gameworks came out with Hi-Fi Rush, which was arguably one of the best Xbox games of last year. Now it's on PlayStation, and it's probably going to be coming to the Nintendo platform in the next year, maybe with the Switch 2. And Arcane Austin was known for Redfall, which was just a complete disaster. Both games got like their last updates that included like offline mode, I think, for Redfall or something like that, and now you can actually hit pause on the game. So there was a couple things there, but once again, it's more studios that are closing and more layoffs at Microsoft, which was like really devastating to see. I know you and I talked off air about that.
Mhm.
I loved Hi-Fi Rush, and it's going to be disappointing that we're never going to see a second one.
Yeah, I gotta say, my Xbox takes are apparently not in line with a lot of people's, but
Right, but
I really think Hi-Fi Rush was the best game Xbox has put out in the last like 3 years.
oh, I could agree with that. I
And,
love the game.
it's really unbelievable. I mean, I get that, it, I think we talked about this last time. Like, it's all about the money, right? It's like,
Yeah.
does this make us enough money? Are we paying too much than we need to for the thing? But oh my gosh, that one really hurt seeing Tingo GameWorks, and I mean, and that is a studio that put out I mean, maybe not very successful titles, but definitely it was a successful studio. I can't actually think of a game that they like just completely missed on.
No,
I mean
everything's
the
been really good.
yeah, and
They
like
were,
the Evil Within games that's Tango GameWorks, right?
yep, that is,
And
yep.
I mean, those games are great. They have their own fan bases and everything, and so yeah, that was a real shocker for me. Arcane Austin. I mean,
I think at first,
Redfall was a huge disappointment, right? So
yeah,
I can see why there might have been a little bit of people thinking maybe we don't have much confidence in this studio, not going where we wanted to go. But I mean, again, anytime you talk about closures, like it sucks, right? Because ultimately people are losing their jobs and having to try and find something else. But the Tango GameWorks thing really shocked me.
yeah, and that's a studio you can't just recreate. Like Microsoft has dozens of developers now, like studios. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush is a game they could just give to like the Coalition or 343. That game like was special within Tango GameWorks. You cannot. I don't know how the deal works with that IP or anything, but there's no way they can hand it off to someone else and match how good Hi-Fi Rush was. And they
Yeah,
were getting.
no, I was going to say I agree. And to that point, I hear a lot of the same things with other franchises, not just this, but things like say an Uncharted game, right? Like if you're talking PlayStation, there was talk a little while ago about maybe someone else developing another PlayStation studio developing that aside from Naughty Dog. And it's like no, like you can't do
Yeah,
that. Like that team created that thing for a reason, and like they are the soul of that game. And so, yeah, to your point, like handing Hi-Fi Rush off to someone else, I can't think who in the Microsoft library of developers you would even trust with that. I don't Toys for Bob maybe, but like
yeah. I don't
I don't
know.
know, man. I don't know.
It's
I think it's just really disappointing we won't be able to see a second version of that game.
and yeah, that's a game that might have been a victim of Game Pass in the in the wrong way. I think
Right.
if that was on Game Pass and made people purchase it for $30, maybe we're talking about something different, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that leads me to the next discussion. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was announced recently, and there were reports that Microsoft were internally debating to put Call of Duty on Xbox Game Pass because it's a $70 game, extremely popular. They'll get tons of sales from it. Now, if it goes on Xbox Game Pass, they're most likely going to lose money because that includes PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass, which probably
Hmm.
covers at least half or a little bit more than half of the Call of Duty player base. So when they revealed the live action trailer for Black Ops 6, which came a few weeks before June 9th, where they're going to have the Black Ops 6 Direct at the Xbox Game Showcase, they said it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. Now, they better hope they get at least 2.5 million Game Pass subscribers to make this work, to at least make up within the first month. They'd probably prefer to want 5 million subscribers, but 11 million will really help them recover from lost sales in the first month of full purchases of Black Ops 6. And this that information came from Brad Sams, who does a lot of Microsoft, intel, like he knows a lot about Microsoft and really dives into there. So I don't know if that's extremely accurate, but that is a big risk by Microsoft after purchasing Activision for $70 billion.
So let me ask you a question about that.
Right.
So he is saying that they would need at least 2.5 million new Game Pass subscribers. Is that what he's saying?
That's what I'm getting from that. That's what
Okay.
I'm getting from that. Because right now, I mean, there were reports that maybe there were over 30 million Game Pass subscribers. I think they're talking about new subscribers. And what is a
Okay.
subscription? Around $10 to $15, depending if you're Ultimate or regular Game Pass.
Right.
So
Yeah, this is one of the things. This is probably actually like the most interesting thing happening in gaming right now is what's going to happen with numbers for Black Ops, for just the new. Who cares what it's called? It's just the new
right,
Call of Duty game, right?
yeah,
Um, I I have no idea, honestly. Like I am kind of hit and miss with Call of Duty. Like I'll play it some, and then
yeah.
I'll go
It's
away for a while, and then I'll come back. And I mean, look, the gameplay is still great. Like it's still some of the best like first person shooting, that I've ever played. But I don't know. I is the appetite still there for you or for people that you talk to? Because I feel like not that the people I game with like are
Right.
going away from Call of Duty necessarily, but there are just so many other options, right? Like
Yeah.
it used to be where Call of Duty was like the thing, but
There's so
now, I
many.
mean,
Yeah. There's
yeah,
so many
you've
different
got
first persons.
you've got Destiny, you've got Overwatch, you got Fortnite, you got like all these other
Apex
things that could,
Legends.
that can like help kind of fill that gap. So I'll be really interested to see. I have not been like done any research on what the numbers have been for Call of Duty over the last like 5 years, right? Like, is it continuing to increase? Is it leveling off? Is it declining?
Right.
I honestly have no idea, but I'll be really interested to see how this pans out and if this gambit works for Xbox because boy, do they really need it to work? I mean,
They really do. Now, what if it fails? Like, what if this, what if this fails? Are they gonna take Call of Duty off of Game Pass in the future? It's
I think you have to, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's you're leaving so much money on the table with a game like Call of Duty if you're putting it on Game Pass and just hoping beyond hope that there are another. I mean, I'm reading what Brad is saying here: 5 to even up to 11 million. Like, are there really 5 million people out there who are not Game Pass subscribers that are like, oh, Call of Duty's there? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna bite the
yeah.
bullet and get. I mean, maybe
I don't
I have
know.
no idea, but that seems like a lot. It seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, and you would probably be banking on those people being PC players because we all know Xbox
Hmm.
Series X sales are really down. They don't even reveal the numbers. They stopped revealing the numbers during the Xbox One era.
Yeah,
So we don't even know what those numbers are like, right? Um, but that also tells me, Scott, that they're going to rely on PlayStation 5 sales more than anything.
yeah.
And PlayStation 5 just hit 59 million sales now. It's probably going to hit closer to 70 million by the time Black Ops 6 comes out, I would think. So it tells me that we're going to use Sony for sales. We're going to put on Game Pass, but we got to really rely on PlayStation. But there's
That's an
also
interest. That,
microtransactions in the game too. So
yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, that's an interesting tactic, right? It's like Microsoft essentially needing the PlayStation player base to like prop up their bottom line. That's a interesting place to be if you're a company like Microsoft. Yeah, look, like I said, I'll be interested to see how it works out for him.
yeah, it'll be very interesting. I have some hope for Black Ops 6 based on the story compared to Modern Warfare 3. I feel like the Black Ops 6 story could be pretty interesting. It's taking place in the Gulf War. So we'll see. Um, talking a little bit more about Microsoft, their latest biggest game of the year so far, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. It came out on May 21st.
Hmm.
I played it and reviewed it for the website. First off, it is extremely stunning. It's one of the best looking games I've played this generation, especially on Xbox. It's
Hmm.
probably the best looking game I've ever played on Xbox. Now, I have something I was questioning a little bit after, like, is it more of a tech demo and is it too short? Like, yeah, I think it's a pretty good tech demo for the console. Now, too short, it depends. Like, I don't mind short games because sometimes 30 to 40 hour gameplay can get a little dull sometimes depending on what the game is.
Sure.
I thought the game was perfect as far as storytelling, visually. Now, gameplay, I know there was a lot of complaints about maybe it's like a walking simulator, but I love the combat. I liked it a lot. I thought it was great, but I wanted more. So I don't know what you think from your perspective. I don't know if you've played it yet, but I really liked it. Now it's not going to sell consoles, but I thought it was a good game.
Yeah. So how long was it? How long was your playthrough?
So my playthrough was about 8 hours.
About 8 hours.
I will say this is the most PlayStation-like game to go on Xbox. I think
Interesting.
almost
What does that like? What does that mean to you? Why did you say it that way?
it's a very like cinematic like normally with PlayStation games, they're very known for, I feel like, they have a really good cinematic feel. Like I need to take out popcorn to, like
Right.
while I'm playing it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of like felt like that almost. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I have not played Hellblade 2. I actually never played the first one either. So this is a bit of a blind spot for me in terms of my gaming library. But look, I don't have a problem with an 8 hour game. Look, I just talked earlier about how I played through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and to Persona 3. And I tell you what, like after playing a couple of 70-hour games, and 8-hour games sounds really, really good, right? So
Right.
there's definitely a place and a time for them. Is it a full price game, or does that even matter just because everyone gets it on Game Pass? I
Right,
mean,
right, right. So it's a $50 game, digital only, and I would say
okay.
when you're buying it not for the gameplay, you're buying it because of the other aspects of it, visually, the audio quality. I forgot to mention that as well. With the
Mhm.
headset,
Yeah.
with the headset features they've got going on there, which was really cool. You're paying for other things besides the gameplay.
Okay. Yeah, look. I certainly don't have a problem with stuff like that. I kind of like some experimental game creation. Like I like when people introduce new types of things. I don't want all of my experiences to be the same. So I mean, I, I think that sounds all pretty good. I mean, look, when you have that company shutting down studios who didn't perform what they needed to perform, like it all seems like even if you create a great experience that is critically well received, like Hi-Fi Rush, let's say,
Hmm.
if it doesn't make the number we had in our mind, like maybe it's considered a failure. Maybe like we don't have the time and space for that anymore. Um, so I know it's still probably pretty early to start, to look at that and say, oh, it didn't meet expectations from a sales standpoint. But I'll be really interested to kind of keep up with that and listen to what like a Phil Spencer has to say
Right.
about, you know, did Hellblade 2 do what we wanted it to do?
Right, and they have already Ninja Theory. The good news is they've been approved for another project by
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft. I don't know what it is, but who knows what that means, right?
Hey, we've all seen projects get greenlit and then all of a sudden they disappear off the face of the earth, and
Scalebound.
Scalebound, man. You know I'm talking about Scalebound. But so I mean that's great. Like I'm happy to hear that. I think that's great news. I really, like I said, I really like when studios kind of take risks with storytelling and do some new stuff. I mean, video gaming to me more than anything else is it's an art form and a way to like experience that. It's storytelling and art.
Yeah.
And if people don't have the ability to like be creative and take risks with that kind of thing, I to me it's just it's pointless, right? Like art needs to be able to do that. And if we're getting to a place in time and in the world where these studios can't create the art that they want to create, something's wrong. Like we need to do. And we as in I guess whoever can
Yeah.
control it, but we need to be able to support these kind of things, um, and it's real sad. So I hope that it does do well. I hope that they're able to continue making those types of games. That, if that's what they want to do, if they want to move on and do something a little more standard, then great. Like let them do that. But whatever their vision is, I just hope that they're in a place where they're able to do that.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there over at Microsoft. We always got to start off the show at Microsoft, it seems, these days with some interesting topics. But some other news that looks to be on the up was from Nintendo. Now, the fiscal year ended, the recent fiscal year ended. So that means all these companies gave some details on their sales and what we could expect next. And Nintendo confirmed that they will announce the Switch successor by March 31st, 2025, which is the end of the new fiscal year. So basically, I think they're going to announce the next Switch within the next couple of months. I think the next
Mm-hmm.
Switch or whatever they call it is going to launch in March, like they did with the Switch, with the first Switch. So I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think? Would you look forward to it?
Yeah, and I my kids have a Switch. They're the ones who usually take the time up for that console in the house. The Switch and Nintendo in general is kind of weird to me because they are not uh, like they don't care about being on like the cutting edge of technology,
No,
right?
they
And to
don't.
me, the reason to update all of these consoles is so you can stay up with the technology, you can deliver like bigger and better experiences because you need the technology to do that, and yada yada, right? And which is why like getting the new Microsoft and PlayStation consoles every I don't know 6 7 years That makes a type of sense. Nintendo is not as interested in that in my
No.
mind. So, when did the Switch come out? I actually don't even
March
remember.
3rd, 2017 with Zelda Breath of the
20
Wild.
okay, 2017. So
Yeah.
it's been 7 years. So again, a typical life cycle of a. I mean, I get it,
It'll
right?
be
Like
8 years,
it.
but
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and that's like the time frame. But like the Switch is still fine.
it's
It,
it's great.
I'm wondering like what they're wanting to bring to it that they can't currently bring to it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is attracting more third-party publishers to put their biggest games on there. So the next Switch, which is people have been calling it the Nintendo Switch 2, which we don't know officially, obviously, is
Sure.
rumored to be as powerful as an Xbox Series S when it's docked, and it's more compared to a PS4 or PS4 Pro when it's in handheld mode. So that can give you a good idea of what maybe it could handle. That's not official. That was reported going online, so we'll see about that. Now, I am very concerned now if it's that powerful. What's the battery life on handheld mode? Because
Yeah.
I do like the handheld mode function, right? How are
Oh,
they going to handle
that's
that?
the only way we use it in our house is handheld mode. We
Really?
rarely have that thing docked. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I love to have that option. I really do. Um,
Hmm.
it's always a great thing to have that. So I think the games that Nintendo needs, if they want to stay with the times, is games like can they launch a GTA 6 on that console? That's kind of like what I'm
Oh,
thinking for them, like Fallout
no
games.
way. No
Like
way.
I
Right?
I have a bold prediction that GTA 6 will come to the next Nintendo console. I'm not saying it's going to launch with it. I think down the road it could. Now, how will that port be remains to be seen.
I
But
mean,
I mean, it
I,
is a kid's console. Don't get me wrong. I know
well,
GTA does not match.
sure, but
You know,
I'm just trying to think of like again. I mean, we're talking about like the bigger games that require that like technological
right?
advance, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the recent Nintendo Switch ports of those bigger games and like
Hogwarts
how that
Legacy
actually.
would be one.
And I mean, I heard nothing about that. Maybe that means it's a good thing,
I
but
heard it
like,
was a good port. I didn't try it myself, but the Mortal Kombat 1 port was not good. It was not good at all.
oh, that one was like infamously terrible.
That one was
Like,
awful. Mortal Kombat 11 had a better port.
yeah, but I don't know. I guess maybe that's what I'm saying about like I think Nintendo just needs to be comfortable with who they are. And
Yeah.
to me, I could be reading it wrong, right? But like to me, they are not Hogwarts Legacy. They're not MK1. They're not Call of Duty. They're not
No.
GTA 6, right? Like let those other consoles have that. People are like Nintendo does not have a sales problem. All right? Like
Nope.
they
140 million strong.
yeah, they do not need to bring all of this third-party stuff onto the Switch and like I can't. I mean, if you only have a Switch in your house, maybe you're like, oh, it'd be cool if I had Hogwarts Legacy, or it'd be cool if I had GTA 6. I don't know, but
Right, right.
I don't know, man. I just feel like, I mean, especially if you're saying like the new Switch is going to be essentially a PS4. I don't think that I don't think that Rockstar Games should be building GTA 6
Right.
to run on a PS4. Right? Like it should
True, true.
run on a PS5. It should run on an Xbox Series X. Like I would think that you don't want the previous generation to be able to run that game. Although, look, I mean, it's GTA. You're gonna get it purchased on like 7 generations of consoles, right?
Yeah,
So I mean,
exactly.
I don't know, but yeah, I would really just like Nintendo to be a little bit more comfortable in their own skin and just stick with what they do. I don't think they need to be a part of this technological arms race necessarily.
Yeah, and what really brought up the third-party games coming to Nintendo's platform was the acquisition of Shiver Entertainment, who did the Hogwarts Legacy port and the Mortal Kombat 1 port, which if they acquired them, I it just raises an eyebrow. What could they be working on with other
Sure.
publishers? You don't know. What we
Hmm.
do know is though, when Microsoft bought Activision, they made a 10-year deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo consoles. They never said the Switch; they just said like Nintendo consoles or something like that. So Black Ops 6 will probably come to the next Nintendo console, or maybe just the 2025 Call of Duty. It won't be this year for the Call of Duty on Nintendo's Switch, because it just probably can't handle it. So there'll be like that type of third party for sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens when they officially announce this console. Like, we're always speculating and things like that. But what I really want Nintendo to upgrade with is their online system. Their online system, like adding friends, playing with friends, party chat, things like that. Those little things that they could enhance throughout their online gaming experience could go a long way, I feel like, if they could figure that out.
Yeah, that's a good call. That is sort of the thing that
We're still using friend codes.
I know that is the thing that, like, with Nintendo, I'm just like, I don't even mess with their online stuff.
Right.
It's like, it's single player first party stuff that I'm generally playing if I do play the Switch. But
Or
yeah,
like family stuff.
Yeah. But they're like online multiplayer and like all that stuff. It's still kind of janky.
Yeah. And
it feels very like PS2. Like back when I used to play SOCOM on
okay.
PS2, like trying to like get friend codes to like link up with players. It feels a lot like that. And it's like that was 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a while
It's like
ago.
they do so many other things so well. It's just weird that feels like kind of like a blind spot for them.
Yeah. And I think the Nintendo Switch is going to reach the PS2 in sales to be the best-selling console of all time eventually.
That's great.
Maybe that's what they're waiting for, to release this new console, just to beat PS2. And that's crazy to think about, the Nintendo Switch beating that. I remember they were so down before. Everyone was so down about them before it came out, and now look at it.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's because they saw 1-2 Switch and they're like, "This is it. This is what we got."
Yeah, I could say I bought that game for $50, and I maybe have like 3 hours of playtime in it, but
That's awesome.
that's
Money well spent.
one of those purchases you kind of like, why the hell did I purchase that? But that's okay. Going
That's
on
funny.
to PlayStation side of things, they just hosted a State of Play, which showcased multiple new games coming to PS5 and PC. But so we talk about Nintendo and all their iconic games and things like that. How about PlayStation? They have something with this Astrobot. They just revealed the new Astrobot game, which completely looks sick. It features 6 galaxies spanning over 80 levels, 15 new abilities, over 70 new enemy types, tons of cameos of iconic PlayStation games like Parappa the Rappa. And I know I saw a Kratos thing there too. And there's new environments like the desert. That looks awesome, Scott. That looks really good.
Yeah. Look, when I got the PS5, it came with Astro's Playroom, or
Yep.
I can't remember
Astro's Playroom.
And
It was great.
dude,
I
it
played
was
it.
fun. I know, and you talk about like tech demos or whatever. Like that was obviously like a way for people to get to understand like the potential
The
of the DualSense controller, right? And like
So
what it
good.
can do and what it can feel like. And I was like, oh, this is really cool as a tech demo, but like the game itself is just fun. Like it was just a fun game. And when I saw the presentation with Astrobot, this new one, it just looks fun, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want a fun game to play, and this will definitely hit that. Like it's just going to be a fun game. It may not blow you away with like maybe it doesn't have like a bunch of new ideas or anything like that. Although I'm sure it will, based off of what I've seen them do before with this character.
Yep.
But if nothing else, I think it's just going to be fun, which is great. Let's do more of that. Let's just have fun games.
For real, yeah. I think it's going to be awesome, and the DualSense controller really has some nice features that even Xbox is trying to copy off of, with one of their newer controllers coming out, going to be announced soon. And kind of think about it, DualSense has some like throwback features, like the blowing into it. You like blow into it, and like there's a microphone in it, and like you can hear game audio and things like that. That's always been like impressive to me, like how they implemented that still these days. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the rumble features they have on the DualSense, but
yeah, I like the dynamic triggers they have.
Yeah, yes,
that just felt really good for things like with Horizon, like they use that kind of stuff quite a bit, or with what was Returnal? Returnal has some cool stuff with those as well. Dude, that game was so good. But no, like yeah, the adaptive triggers. That's what they call them. That's like their
Yes, that's
marketing
what they
language
call it.
for it.
Yep.
Um, that's a really cool part of the controllers. That at first when it was announced, I was like, whatever. Like it's kind of gimmicky, but whatever. But
Hmm.
no, like with gameplay stuff that I've seen it implemented in, it's actually been like kind of cool to just it adds like another 2% enjoyment, right? Like something like that.
Yeah,
It's not massive, but it is just kind of a cool kind of bonus.
I do prefer the controller over the other Dual Shocks. I really
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, it's a good control. It's a good controller.
I really enjoy it. Anyways, going back to the state of play, other games that were announced includes Dynasty Warriors Origins comes out
That was dope.
2025 for PS5.
That was dope, man.
Yeah, that looks
I really
great.
like the Dynasty Warriors game. That's another one of those games. It's like they're not doing anything like incredible. Like we've never seen this before. But it's just like a really fun series of games to play. But they made it look really really good. That was
Yeah.
it's by far the most impressive I've ever seen a Dynasty Warriors game look. I
Yep.
mean, I think even the ones that have come out in the last I don't know 2 or 3 years look like they probably still could have come out on the PS3. But
Wow.
this one looked pretty cool, so I'm kind of excited for it.
Yeah, and they say they're taking full advantage of what the PlayStation 5 has to offer, and I wonder if that also includes the PS5 Pro whenever that gets announced. I know that's been rumored too.
Hmm.
Um, Other things, God of War Ragnarok and Until Dawn are going to PC this fall. Ragnarok on PC comes September 19th. We don't know the Until Dawn remaster when that comes to PC. That's also
Hmm.
coming to PS5, the remaster. Also, what was interesting with that is that when you play on PC, you are required to have a PSN account. And I know it's not so much you're required to, connect a PSN account that's frustrating people. It's more frustrating that blocks other regions, like
Hmm.
around the world.
I
Like
see.
there's no like PSN account. You can't create a PSN account like in parts of the world. That means you can't play it on PC. So
Gotcha.
I don't
Gotcha.
know.
Gotcha.
I know there's a whole controversy with Helldivers 2 with PSN accounts.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that PlayStation has sort of done a couple of false starts with rolling stuff out on PC. Um,
They're learning.
yeah. I think they're learning. I think they're trying to decide like what they actually want to do and like the best ROI for the games they put out there and like how it works out for them. Look, God of War Ragnarok it's incredible, right? Like I'm really excited to see how that looks on PC. I imagine it'll look even better than it looks on the PS5.
Right.
Until Dawn is such a fun game. Like it was a really cool idea when it came out. I don't know if it necessarily needed a remaster, but if you did it for the purpose of putting it on PC and then, hey, bonus, it will also just put it on PS5. Okay, cool. But that's a really fun game too. Those two are really, I think, good ones to put out there on PC to
Yeah,
get those people
definitely.
playing them. So yeah, no, that's exciting.
Yep, Ghost of Tsushima was the most recent one to go on PC, and I think Sony really wants to implement their ecosystem onto PC, like showing the trophies and friends list, kind of like how Xbox has it on PC. I think that's why they want the PSN account to
Yeah.
be added. So that makes sense. I mean,
Sure. And look, you want to keep people within your ecosystem, right?
yeah,
Like, it's like, yeah, you can play it here, but we need you to stay a part of our system. Like, I get it. Like, and like I said, because I think this is one nice thing about Microsoft is they are, I think, a PC type company first, right? So they're thinking about that. I think when they're coming out with these games and like there's their strategy for how they want to share that out. It's like, oh, we always have PC in mind because that's like a part of our fabric. It's a part of our history. So,
right.
we're gonna like build it with that in mind. You know, Nintendo obviously not doing a whole lot of that, but with PlayStation, they're just like, hey, we want to expand more. Not quite sure how to do that since that's not how we've done things in the past. So that kind of like I said earlier, like they've had a couple of false starts getting stuff on PC, but I mean, look, they'll get there. They'll figure it out. Has it been rocky? Yeah, but at the
They'll
same
get to it.
time, yeah. I mean, I don't know how many copies of Uncharted or Ghost of Tsushima or whatever else they're selling on PC, but I tell you this, like it's gravy for them, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like all of these games they're putting on PC, they've already made their money back. I think they're doing this to just it's all gravy for them.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
that's why I think like that's a pretty solid approach because you're not relying on these ports to like make you back your money. It's just a little extra.
Yeah, and that seems to be Sony's plan. Release it on PC a few years later. Anyways,
Yep.
going on more to the state
Pressing
of
on
play,
time.
Marvel Rivals was there, and the closed beta was confirmed to come to consoles, PS5 and Xbox this July. PlayStation users will get an exclusive Scarlet Spider skin in-game now. This game was originally announced for PC. Now we know it's officially coming to consoles, which is interesting. The game definitely resembles some Overwatch. Interested to see how it does.
Yeah, did that do anything for you? That look good? Like, did it look like something you would want to play?
I mean, I would give it a shot. I'm not the biggest Marvel guy, but I definitely give it a shot. I mean, I think it's a good idea. How like do I think it's going to last? I don't know. When it comes to these types of games, like you never know. Yeah, I would give it a shot. Not to say like I'll continuously play it. It just looks like a game that's just going to be full of microtransactions and things like that. So
Yeah, these type of games, like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. They just don't really hit for me. Like I look at it and I'm just like, like I mean, I like the artwork, like the art style looks good, but like actually playing the game, I don't know. Look, they wouldn't be making it if they didn't think a player base existed
yeah, I
for it,
mean,
right? So,
it has
I,
Marvel in the name.
yeah. Well, look, so did the Avengers, and boy was that a train wreck.
Oh boy.
But it obviously a much different game than the Avengers was. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how that performs because I I don't know. Maybe I haven't been looking in the right places, but I feel like the response so far has been pretty tepid.
Yeah, and it's smart for them to have marketing rights with Sony, who produced the best Marvel games like Spider-Man and Wolverine
Hmm.
coming out. So
Yeah.
that was probably a smart move on the marketing side. Anyways, other games, Path of Exile 2 will come to early access for later this year. No set release date for that, but I know you're a Path of Exile guy, right?
No, I'm not a Path of Exile guy.
No, you're not.
No, no, I'm not. I'm a Diablo guy. Like
Oh, okay,
I
all
played a
right.
bunch of Diablo 3. I've played some Diablo 4. I mean, it's a time sink, the Diablo games, right? So that's what mostly has kept me away. But so Path of Exile 2 in the style of Diablo. I will not say it is a clone because I think it's proven itself to be its own thing and is has been very successful, right? So I'm not going to say it's just a Diablo clone. I think it's more than that. But I think if you like those type of games, those isometric style games, that how they refer to them, then I think it's definitely something you should check out if you haven't done that yet.
Right.
I've got a couple buddies who are really big Path of Exile fans, so I mean I know they've got their pretty massive fan base, and look, this is great, and I think this is kind of just a theme of what we've been talking about for a lot of the show. It's like let just people play your games, right?
Yeah.
Like it's tough, like being like, oh yeah, I'm a Xbox homer, or I ride for
No, just enjoy the
PlayStation.
games.
Yeah, like I think it's great that like we're getting more exposure to these great games for more people. Why not? Right? Like the company's going to make money, right? Like if you can get it in front of more people and they like it, you're going to just make more money. Um, so I think you have to kind of keep some things close to your chest, so people will buy your hardware, right, to play it on. But no, this is great. I'm excited to see more stuff like this happen.
Yeah. And other key games shown at the State of Play on May 30th were Where Winds Meet, which keep an eye on that game. That game could be really good. It looks really
Excited for
good.
that one.
It takes
Yeah.
place in China, right? It's an action RPG.
You know
Some
what? I don't know where
something
it
like
takes.
that.
Yeah, I don't know where it takes place, but I'm excited for it. I think that's all
Yeah.
I'll say right now.
That looks really good. We don't know what timetables, probably 2025 or beyond, based on the trailer that they showed. Silent Hill 2, which, everyone's always hyped about that. I believe that's a Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
yeah, it's a remake. Uh-huh.
And Monster Hunter Wilds, which that was the first time we've seen it since the announcement at the Game Awards. And so that obviously has some people excited in the Monster Hunter community.
Do any of those games resonate with you?
No, actually, out of those three, the game that I'm really interested in is Where Winds Meet. I really think that that game does look interesting to me.
Yeah, same.
I'm not a huge Silent Hill guy, Monster Hunter guy. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever play the Monster Hunter franchise. Not a big guy in that. So,
yeah. Right on.
But yeah, and there's a couple other games like there was Infinity Nikki, which is like an open world dress up adventure game.
That's more your style.
That's
right?
more of my style, definitely.
Okay,
If you don't know
that's
me,
what
Infinity Nikki, I might be hopping on that later this year, and it's also come
right
to
on.
mobile and PC. So,
Yeah. And
yes,
then I think the other game that we didn't bring up that was really huge was Concord, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally forgot to put it in the show notes. Concord, yes.
Yeah, and that's the one that looked like a cross between like Overwatch and Guardians of the Galaxy, really. And
Yeah,
you know, it's another one of those type of games where I'm not particularly excited for it. I think it looks great. I think what I was getting from like the story stuff they plan on doing with that with the characters, like that could be interesting, but I just feel like so many of these things come out. Like it's hard to tell these days, like if it's going to hit or not.
right. You never know. Next up, Sony kind of got us all started on the presentations. Usually we'd call it E3 time, but sadly E3 is forever over.
Yeah.
But there still is the Summer Game Fest weekend, which I'm kind of going to start calling it. It seems that a lot of events are still going to happen in LA this coming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of a prediction time, kind of a free-for-all time. So on June 7th, we have Summer Game Fest, which I think is going to be about 2 hours long. It's going to cover games, a wide variety of games, not just first-party Xbox games or PlayStation games or Nintendo games. Going to have everything. Then you have the Xbox Game Showcase on June 9th and Ubisoft Forward on June 10th. Those are the major ones. There's some smaller ones. But, Scott, what are you kind of predicting among any of these?
Oh, boy. Let's see. For Xbox,
It's going to be Xbox Game Pass day one.
I want to see Fable, man.
Fable, I have no doubt we will see Fable.
We'll see Fable.
I
feel like
think
you gotta.
so.
I feel like you gotta show Fable.
I think Fable, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Forza Horizon 6 at this event.
Okay, sure.
Playground Games might have 2 games there.
Okay.
They're definitely going to have Fable, I think.
Look, you want to talk about the Microsoft franchise that prints them money? It's Forza to me. Like that's the most reliable series of games that they've got. So great, you got another one coming out. Awesome, you guys do that stuff really, really well. So just keep it up. Keep making pretty car racing games, and that's great. So
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I agree with you on Fable. I think we're definitely seeing that with the release maybe in the next year. Who knows?
Yeah, Ubisoft Forward. Oh my gosh, what is Ubisoft? Do you think they're going to show another like Mario Rabbids type game?
Oh my god, I'm a big fan of the Mario Rabbids games. I wouldn't be against the new Super Mario Rabbids title. I just don't. I don't know. I think they should take a little bit of a break. Maybe Ubisoft should focus on something else.
What about Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Yeah, I was gonna say that Beyond Good and Evil 2, but I don't know. I don't know if they're having development trouble with that game. I think some reports are happening out there that maybe they have some development issues there internally.
They're clearly having trouble with that game. They announced that game when we were at E3, I think, in 2017.
Yeah,
so they're clearly having trouble.
Well, Skull and Bones just came out, so it took 7 years since we saw it in person in that Ubisoft area.
I know.
That was a good time at E3.
Yeah, I can't believe that. It was so long ago.
Yeah, but, I know.
Summer Game Fest. What do you? Okay, so what about you? What do you think is going to be showing off at Summer Game Fest?
I think Sega is going to have a huge presence there.
Okay. Okay.
I think not Persona 6. I think.
Do you think we're going to get Do you think we're going to get a splash screen of Persona 6?
Yeah, I think that either happens at Summer Game Fest or Xbox Game Showcase.
Oh,
because Sega has been at Xbox Game Showcase the last 2 years. I think they have some deal. I think they definitely have some kind of like marketing deal. I think it's going to be shown at Xbox Showcase. We all know Persona 6 is going to be green, and we kind of know that they're almost ready to, reveal it. And I don't even know release it, but I think we definitely see it.
I feel like it's getting close. And last Xbox Game Showcase, isn't that when they announced those 3 Persona titles coming to Xbox? Was that last year?
That was
that 3, 4, and 5 were coming
2022,
to Xbox?
And I think last year was Tactica and Metaphor Refantasio.
Oh, okay.
So also at the Summer Game Fest, I think we're going to get the first Sonic 3 trailer finally featuring Shadow and Keanu Reeves. I think could
Oh,
come
that'd be
on
cool.
stage again with
That'd be cool.
Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. Sonic X Shadow Generations, I think so too.
Okay.
I thought you're definitely going to see a strong presence from Sega, I think. And there was maybe some hint that Lego Horizon game that someone, I guess the team at Sony has been working on, could get revealed soon. And maybe Summer Game Fest is a spot for that. Who knows?
Okay. So I think Summer Game Fest. Oh my gosh, I'm going back and forth on this one.
Yeah.
I would like to see what Blue Point is working on, and I don't know if they would save that for a PlayStation showcase, which would probably be in like September, or if they would be cool announcing it at Summer Game Fest. But I would really like to see what Blue Point is up to. I feel like it's about time for them to show off what they're working on.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Maybe they will. Gears of War 6 is another one at Xbox Game Showcase, I would say.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to predict a lot of Xbox. You're going to see a typical Elder Scroll Online thing at the showcase for from Bethesda. You're going to see a lot of Activision, Bethesda stuff among like Xbox Game Studios. State of Decay 3 has to be shown at this point. There's a lot of games that have to be shown at Xbox. Perfect Dark. I think Perfect Dark could get shown. Who knows?
Oh man, yeah. I don't know about that one, man. I would love for Perfect Dark to be shown, but God, I feel like I've been hearing some kind of unsettling things from that particular studio and the development cycle on that one.
Has not been good either.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. But who knows what will happen at these presentations? I think Summer Game Fest will be interesting, but Xbox will, and I don't know what Ubisoft's going to show. And we don't know when Nintendo's going to do their direct. It's just going to be about games, they said. So should be interesting. Maybe we finally get Metroid Prime 4, which we saw 7 years ago. Remember that? That was another one.
Man, it just seems like it's ages ago.
I know. Yeah, I can't believe we were in LA 7 years ago when the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup in back-to-back years. So
it's a whole I'm just thinking about Metroid Prime 4. Right? It is a whole generation later.
Yeah, it's insane. And I think
the Nintendo Switch came to be and existed and is about to go away. And Metroid Prime 4 is just not around.
I think they may have thought the game that they were planning, the Metroid Prime 4 they are planning, maybe it was too big for the current generation. Maybe okay, we're going to have a new generation. We're kind of slowly planning it. What if we just build it for, a more powerful console, right?
Yeah, it would be a cool launch title. That'd be a great launch title for the new thing, right?
That would be great. That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. But we'll see. Let us know in the comments what you think will happen at the Xbox Game Showcase, Ubisoft Forward, and Summer Game Fest. Let us know when we're wrong as well. All right. So what's on the horizon? This is a segment where we look over the games coming out in the near future. For the month of June, there's a lot of DLC that comes out. Some games too, some smaller games sometimes. So we have the Destiny 2, the Final Shape DLC coming June 4th, which is going to take a lot of space on your console or PC. Make sure to have at least 300 gigabytes on your PC saved up.
Jeez.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game comes out June 4th. There's already some mixed reviews on that. Which 3v7 type of game that has me interested. Will I check it out? Maybe. There's a lot of things on my plate. We have next Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance June 14th. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC June 21st. Basically, I feel like that's a whole new game. I know you're a big Elden Ring guy,
baby.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this one. Yeah. And now I'm kicking myself having started Persona 3 because I'm holy crap, now I've got to get done with that before June 21st, and I don't think I'm going to have the time. But so it might have to sit on hold once Shadow of the Erdtree comes out. But yeah, man, give me more Elden Ring. I'll gladly spend another 40 hours with that game.
Yeah, I never played it. I never will because it's too hard for me. But next, we have Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, June 25th. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, June 27th for the Nintendo Switch. Those are some of the more headlining titles coming out this month. Obviously, there are other games coming out, but these are the ones I kind of wanted to point out. So what excites you? Destiny 2?
Well, I mean, obviously I said Elden
Yeah.
Ring. Gosh, Destiny 2 is. I go back and forth to that game every now and then, and like I'll play it for 2 weeks, and I'll be like, God, this game is so dang good. It feels so good to play. Like the gameplay is fun. Like the loot kind of loop that it puts you through is pretty engaging and all that. And then I'll like fall off super hard
Yeah.
and be gone from it for like 6 to 8 months. But with this being, I know it's called the final shape, right? So I know there's more Destiny 2 to come after this, but in terms of like the
This is the
whole kind of story of Destiny 2, I know this is kind of like the last big story arc for it. So I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm just playing too much right now. I don't have enough time.
yeah.
But
I gave up
I'll
on
probably,
Destiny a while ago.
yeah. I mean, but like I said, it's still really great to play. Like it feels good every time I hop back in. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to get to that one or not.
Yeah, we'll see. But with that, we are going to conclude episode 3 of the Rectify Roundtable. Thanks for listening, Scott. I will see you after these presentations go
Yeah,
live, and
we'll have a lot to talk about.
we'll have a lot to talk about. We might have an interview scheduled there with another developer around the industry. Right now, we couldn't fit anyone in because it's a very busy time of traveling for these developers and getting ready to showcase their games or whatever they're working on. So anyways, thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and all of our social media. We'll see you next time.